Hey Josh, how you doing? The Hat Piper, Adam B. How you doing, Jordan? Excuse me. Hi Tim. Well, as the title suggests, I'm a bit frustrated, to say the least. I spent the whole afternoon fussing around with that pickaxe, trying to make it into something to salvage it essentially, and it was going very, very well. I was actually recording a video of me putting it together, kind of hopefully saving it, and it probably is still salvageable. You guys may have seen pictures of the shank extension that I'd made out of a piece of faux ivory. No worries, Jordan. And basically, just whatever I did, every step, it was going well, and then something happened. Somebody's disaster happened. The amount of times I remounted that ivory extension. But anyway, today was the last resort, and I've basically put it down out of frustration. I'm hopefully not going to let it get the better of me in the long run, but I decided, no, I'm putting it down, and maybe I'm going to come inside for a pipe, and then maybe go back out and start a new pipe. Interestingly, I did see, courtesy of somebody on here right now, I managed to see the film Father of the Flame, and I was watching Lee Von Erck. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. It was interesting because I actually found the whole film quite melancholy. I did find it a little bit, I wouldn't say depressing, but I did find it a little bit too honest, let's put it that way. But anyway, one of the things which he says in the film is that if he has 3 things go wrong, he puts it down and that's it for the day. He goes out of the workshop and that's it. And I think it's a very, very wise mantra to work by, because you can only put up with so much, and then you start to get angry, and you start to get frustrated, and you start to force things and do things impulsively, and you end up wrecking even more work. So I decided I'm going inside. I'll show you a picture. Where are we? 7 Ellie Mike. So I'd gone as far as, so I don't know if you can see that, but I made that sort of shank extension. I don't know, actually the picture is a little bit, I'm just going to wipe the lens, so just excuse me for a second. Yeah, so if you could see that was the shank extension that I'd made. There's a better view of it. If I just take down the screen glariness. So that was the extension that I'd made. Get the schmutz off, exactly. And I actually then spent the rest of the afternoon making a stem from scratch, a Cumberland stem, a brindle stem, and it was working pretty well. And I actually got it mounted, and the stem was, the pipe was done. It kind of obviously needed cleaning again and polishing up, but it looked fantastic. And then when I went back to take the stem out, look what happened. So there's the stem which I'd made, it looked really nice. The bend on it was fantastic, and it really, really complemented the pipe. But there, you could see there, it snapped off just at the bit where it's mounted onto the pipe. So all that work, fashioning that, shaping that shank, is all gone to pot. I'm going to have to drill it back out of the pipe. I'm probably still going to use that, and I'll somehow get it back on the lathe, and I'll turn it and get another stump which I can then glue back in. But very, very frustrating. And I'm using the really strong epoxy glue, and it still seems to, even the next day, it's not fully cured, which I don't quite get. I'm not sure what people use when they make bands and shank adornments and things like that. It's either going to be super glue, which a lot of people don't use because it can kind of break down with heat. So when you're, say, with an air gun or whatever it is to shape the stem, you could actually ruin it. No worries, Hat Piper. Thank you very much. I hope it does. I'm going to keep at it, even if I end up having to make a completely new shank extension, I'll end up having to just redo it, possibly. Excuse me. But that is life. I don't give up too easily. Anyway, so what I've decided now is that I'm going to have a smoke. And this pipe here, it was another recovery kind of pipe, which I did a while back, which you guys probably remember. So that's the one which I put the mortar on the bottom, and I've given it a really good coating inside of bowl coating, carbon coating. So I'm gonna give that a smoke now. I'm not going to give it the honey treatment, even though I do usually put honey in even for a bowl coated pipe. But Mike actually sent me an email, Briar Blues, and he said that you should actually test the bowl coating, make sure it doesn't taste like schmutz, because you never know. You might be sending out pipes and it might taste disgusting. So he said test it, and he's 100% right. So that's what we're going to do now. And so I usually break in pipes with the 40th anniversary, but I'm not going to on this occasion. A metal sleeve. That's something I've never actually used. Somebody did suggest that to me once before when something happened to one of my pipes. I think it was Mike. It just seems to me I'm not sure why that would be any better though. Why would that stick any better? Why would that bind any better than the shank itself? I mean, I know it's there to strengthen things up. I see what you mean. Have it between the shank and inside the pipe a bit as well, so that way it won't snap off. I hear that. But it would mean probably drilling out the pipe even more, making the hole even bigger. I'm not too excited about that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Maybe that's an answer, Jordan. I hope you're not typing while you're driving, my friend. Don't do that. Even though you want to give advice, but please don't do that. For strength, yeah. Yeah, I realise it's for strength. I realise the metal is not going to be sticky in any way, but I hear what you're saying. It needs something to support that joint, is what you're saying. I'll have to get some of that. So it's essentially stainless steel tubing, isn't it? There's different diameters, I suppose, one can get. Hey Paul, how you doing? Alright, so we're going to break in this rescue pipe. I actually started the day today, this afternoon, early afternoon, with the intention of making another pipe, another rusticated pipe, because they seem to be very popular, the Sea Rock rusticated pipes, and they sell very well. So I thought I'd just make another fully rusticated pipe. But I just picked up the pickaxe and I thought, I'll give it a go and I'll have a crack at making a stem. And the stem itself, the bit I still need a lot of practice on, but the stem shaping actually went exceptionally well. Very, very happy with it. But just the bit is not what it should be. It's perfectly smokable, but I need a lot of practice on that. A lot of practice. Low nicotine blends. I haven't the foggiest idea. I can talk to you about the strength and the fullness and that kind of thing, but do you mean that you don't get a nicotine rush? I suppose is what you mean. I can certainly recommend Orlick Golden Sliced. No problem. Pretty much most of the Virginias, the straight Virginias, if you don't have a problem with tongue bite, straight Virginias, high PA Piper, Straight Virginias generally don't have a huge nicotine hit. If they've got a burley in them, some people don't like too much Perique, for instance, but generally speaking, Orlick Golden Sliced, something like Erinmore, Dunhill Flake, any of the rolled, the medallion style, Dunhill Navy rolls, Davidoff medallions, Peter Stockerby luxury bullseye flake, or the luxury twist flake, or the flake. There's so much you can buy which is not going to hit you on nicotine. The McBaron blends, Amphora blends. Amphora Virginia is another great smoke, a very, very underrated Virginia. I was actually thinking about it this afternoon and thinking I should go and buy some, get onto Four Noggins or something like that, and stock up on the Virginias. Okay, here goes. I'm going to light this up. I put a filter in, didn't I? McLaren Cube. Okay, that should be all right. Do you find that gives you a nick hit? Haywood Spirit, how you doing? Did you guys see the pipe that I got from Jordan? I did a bit of a longer video earlier today, which encompassed a few different things, but one of them was a box opening. Hi, George. And I'd completely forgotten about that pipe, and I thought it was the 673 KS which he was sending, and then lo and behold, out comes this beautiful panel style, square styled pipe, and I was also surprised by the tamper. I'd forgotten as I was opening it that there was a third piece. I couldn't understand what it was. Hi, Chilled Chad. Chilled Chad. Oh, I like that. Chilled Chad. Do I like OGS better than Full Virginia Flake? Yes, is the short answer in terms of smoking it more regularly. Full Virginia Flake is a very, very nice tobacco, especially with some age. But I've said this many, many times, it does need a little bit more of a considered approach to, when you're relaxed in your office or something like that in a chair, rather than working or in a workshop or driving or anything like that. But I've been smoking it quite a bit recently, the Full Virginia Flake. It's a couple of years old, and it actually really tastes good. I smoked it in the car as well the other day, and it tasted really good. Hey, C Smokes, how you doing? Chad, Eddie Gray gave you a big shout out last night. You got snow falling, wow. Well, they're first smoking this rescued pipe, and it's smoking well. Did you see the video, Chad? So, Savinelli Mike, were you saying that you joined the Pipe Club of London? Hey, Andra. Greetings to the Czech Republic, the home of the Czech tool. No questions are dumb here, mate. You ask away, George. You smoked some OGS today, PA Piper, and how was it? Available at all good grocery stores. And that as well. There's quite a few people who travel quite a way to come to the meetings, I must be honest. There is one guy who comes down for, I think he comes on a 2-hour train ride, and he comes almost every single month. That's commitment. Well, I don't look like I do diet, but I prefer it. I don't like the really rich, sickly sweet stuff, sugary stuff. I can't drink regular Coke, for instance, but much too sweet. Thanks, PA. I'm very grateful to you all for joining. So pretty cool about the Savinelli matches pipes. Well, you can actually just about make out my humidor just there. Oh, I see what you mean, PA. Yeah, no worries. Did I establish a day for the auction? Not yet. I kind of feel that I ought to have all of the pipes in my possession before I actually commit to a date. I'm just a bit nervous that I'll commit to a date and one of the pipes won't arrive on time. February 29th. What is that? Valentine, isn't it? They're out of leap year, Saturday. The mattress salves are $115 plus shipping. It's not a bad price. What does that work out? $150. 115. It's about 90 pounds plus shipping. It's considering it's limited edition, it's okay. I can buy the 673s for less than that. Not a huge amount less, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, although it is a special order, but realistically, all they've got to do is go to their stock room and take some. I mean, they'll have loads in stock. It's a popular shape. All they've got to do is take some from stock and etch. They've probably laser etched the stuff on the sides, or maybe they'll get some stamps made up. But it is, bottom line is, I think it's going to be numbered. So if it is numbered, it's limited. Therefore, it increases in value. So, price is good. Speaking of stamps, my stamp is ready. My LCS Bryce stamp is ready. I just got an email from the fabrication company. So I've had LCS Bryce London made on a stamp, and I've also got a stamp which I can put up to 4 digits in, and I can choose them. They give me a whole selection of numbers, and I'll probably order letters as well. And as I've mentioned before, I've also ordered some 3 Star of Davids. so that if I in the future, I kind of had a thought that in case I do ever decide to grade my pipes, I thought it'd be quite cool to use a Star of David. So I would rate them 1 to 3 that way. Well, I reckon that he'll probably, say for argument's sake, 200 of them are ordered. I reckon he'll order 250 or something like that. Because once they start to go out and people see them, people will probably want to buy them. And I think he did say, Eddie, that he wants to have some in stock. So I reckon he'll order something over the actual over the amount that's pre-ordered. I'm getting there, Paul. I'm not 100% there, but I'm getting there. Thank you for asking. Well, the grading system, there's no official grading system as such. It's up to the carver to have some kind of grading criteria, and it's entirely up to the carver. And then once the carver is actually putting out pipes with those gradings, people will get to know what the gradings are. But logically, I mean, the simple way to look at it is if you've got a grading of some, I can't remember which carver has what, but you know, you've got I think Nana Everson, for instance, I think she has, could it be, is it a fish? And I think Tom Eltang has the snail. He has a couple of different insects which he uses to, somebody who has a bird, a flying bird, up to 3 of them or 4 of them. There's lots of different, you know, people use lots of different sort of insignias, symbols, to show their grading. And it's just a matter of the quality of the finish, the quality of the briar, how it came out, how, you know, how gorgeous it looks. So I guess, you know, 1 to 3, you know, 3 is going to be the best of the best, and 1 is going to be great, but not necessarily as good as number 3. Yeah, I've been emailing Mike to and fro. Emailed him just literally about an hour ago. He's a good guy, Mike. He is. You know, over the last sort of 6 months to a year, we've really been interacting quite a lot, and he's really been giving me some invaluable advice and guidance. So I've got a lot of time for him and affection, and it's not nice, you know, when you see somebody going through kind of a bit of disillusionment. I think from time to time we all feel that, and frustrations. Hi, Biggie. The name of the company that made the stamps. Hang on a second. It's called Chalco Stamp and Die. So that's Chalco, CH. Let me type it. So I don't think you can order on the website. The website just shows you some of the stuff that they do, but you basically get in touch with them, and then you just, I spoke to them on the phone. I also emailed, and they were very good, very efficient, very fast. By the time I get it, it'll probably have taken 2.5 weeks from order to it being made. Hey, Boca. I don't remember which one it was, PA. It was one of my pipes, wasn't it? I gave away 1 to Montclaud and 1 to Jordan. no issues at all with the bowl coating, which I'm very, very happy about. And I hope I'll still be able to salvage that pickaxe pipe. I want to make something again like this. It really worked out very well. This one's sold. So I'm going to make another. I might do like a bent round, maybe an apple. And there's the 673. I tell you what, the 673s that are coming for the auction are really excellent. Been watching the pictures and the videos, and they really are very, very good. I've also got something coming from Chris Morgan from Morgan Pipes. It's not a pipe, but it's something from his forge. Mike at Briar Blues is sending me something interesting, and I'm hoping to get something from GQ Tobaccos as well. He's away at the moment on business, but I hope, because he's local, when he comes back I can have it within a day, so I'm not worried about timing. Hey Andrew, how you doing? Pipe mud isn't the problem, George. That wasn't the issue. I was going to put a decent bowl coating in there, and it will look like any other pipe by the time that's finished. The problem that I had is with the shank, and it came from a schoolboy error right at the beginning, where I didn't take into account the 9mm mortise going into the pipe, and it went right through into the bowl. So I had to build up a dowel, which I turned on the lathe, put it in, glued it in, carved it so it followed the shape of the bowl. That side of it worked fine. It's the shank that I made out of faux ivory that's giving me a lot of problems. Hey Kevin Hendricks, how you doing? What's that, Chad? You're going to talk about what on Friday? Anyone shipping tobacco to California to look up CASB39. You might have to bid on the pipe you made, yeah. I'm thinking about it too. It certainly crossed my mind about bidding on my own pipe. But Mike's already put in a bid on that of $300 as a starting bid. Hopefully that still stands. I hope he hasn't regretted that. Oh right, loading, right, okay, fine. How you doing, Andrew? Andrew, you're going to wrap me over the knuckles. Still sitting on my desk. But I think I'm going to compensate him. I'll throw something else in there as well when I send it up. That would actually be quite cool if somebody bought the set. It's a shame we haven't got. It's a shame we haven't got 7 pipes for a 7-day set. But I think that would be a little bit unfair for everybody else. I really hope that this whole Savinelli pipe nook thing doesn't have an effect on it. Timing wasn't great, but it's fine. Another couple of bolts through this and this will be perfect. It's smoking quite hot at the moment, which is expected on a smooth pipe which is new with no cake. That's quite normal. The walls aren't particularly thin, they're not particularly thick, but they're a decent thickness. They're a little bit narrower as you get down because it's a Dublin, but not that much. So all the best, Wood Spirit. this is that pipe. This has got a grey stain with some black. It came out really well, actually. I wanted it to blend in with this block at the bottom, this mortar block, so I stained it accordingly, and I think it works okay. It's not a perfect fix, you know. The mortar's a little bit rough, and the joint over here is a little bit, you know, but it looks okay. You know, at a distance, smoking it, normally it looks like it's a pipe that should be like this. It's just an interesting pipe. Yes, George, that's exactly what they could do, is stamp the pipes, but apparently that's going to be a limited run. So I guess the idea is that they won't redo it. So that's how it's going to be limited. Stonehenge, in terms of the proceeds, all of the proceeds go to a charity of the family's choosing, and you can read into that whatever you want. My main motivation here was not to cause any grief anywhere. So 100% of whatever is bid will go to the families, to whatever they decide to do with it. So yeah, so whatever we make, if we make $100 or we make $2,000, whatever it is, it all goes to them. Yeah, Pierre, read into what I've been saying. Yeah, it's exceptionally nice of the people who have gotten involved, who have gotten on board. You know, people are giving of their valuable time. So yeah, it's really fantastic to all the people. So we've got at the moment Sea Smokes, that's Weaver. We've got Jordan, myself, Jason Mouton, and Dragon Brise, and a few other bits and pieces, as I said. My mum is not doing too great. Hi, Boris. She's okay. I mean, she's going through chemo, and but she's had pneumonia recently, which is getting over now, thankfully. But everything together, the pneumonia, the chemo, and all of that just knocks you for six. And it's all the medication as well. You lose your appetite, and so you're like a rattle. You're full of pills, and there's no food to help it kind of absorb in the system in a sensible way. Many years ago, I had a guy who worked for me. In the days when I had a company, I was running a company. Talking about probably about 15 years ago, something like that, 10, 15 years ago. A guy who was semi-retired, I think he was around 60ish, and thanks, Paul. Yeah, pneumonia is rough. To the aged, it is rough, but imagine an older person also going through chemo is really tough. Hey, Reed Bender. So anyway, yeah, so going back about 10, 15 years, this guy worked for me. He had kind of semi-retired, and at the time I was running a real estate business. And we were looking after a bunch of real estate. And this guy had done that kind of work for some time before he came to retirement age. And I was looking for somebody, and I thought, well, why not? He knows what he's doing, and just because he's retired doesn't mean that he can't be employable. So I employed him, and he was very, very good. Also very handy, so any minor repairs and maintenance he did. See you, Weaver. And he suffered from gout. So I don't know if it's called the same in the States, but gout is essentially an inflammation of the joints, but not just an inflammation. It's like there's an imbalance of the various minerals in the system, and you end up getting what feels like sometimes between the joints, like having grit or bits of sand, grains of sand between your joints. And can you imagine sort of your joints working and rubbing against sandpaper? And that's essentially what he suffered from. So he was on a lot of medication, but when he was in real pain, he was in real pain. One time he went on a cruise with his wife to the Caribbean on a ship, and he really got a bad attack of gout. Uric acid, yeah. He got a very, very bad attack, and he had to come home. And I remember he was in the office afterwards, and he was on medication to control it. You know, one day he was in the office and he was in such pain. He was standing by the end of the table, gripping the end of the table, shaking. He was standing there trying to he didn't know what to do with himself because of the pain. I don't know why he came into work, but he obviously, keeping busy, maybe he was happy. He was standing there like this at the end of the table, gripping the desk and shaking. Like his whole body was shaking from the pain. And I just said, go home. I mean, go to hospital, go home. Just, you don't have to feel commitment and stay in the office. Go. He ended up in hospital. He was in hospital for quite some time. And this is one of the disaster stories on the NHS. Sometimes you have fantastic stories, sometimes you don't. Anyway, they kept on giving him medicine, and it wasn't improving, and they just kept on pumping him full of medicine. Really, really strong painkillers and anti-inflammatories. And for some reason, nobody realised that he wasn't taking on board any liquid, and he wasn't urinating. And basically, the bottom line is, he died. And he died in hospital because, essentially, his body was full of drugs and nothing else. And these drugs were going round his system, round and round and round, and no liquids and no food and no nutrition. And that was the end of him. Hey, Robert. So that's a bit of a heavy story, but I remember I went to his funeral. I'd never met his family really before, so I met his wife and his kids for the first time. And you don't know what to say sometimes. In the last couple of years of his life, I probably saw them more than they did. That's very negligent. I hope that they sued the hospital. I've got no idea what happened afterwards. I must be honest, Savinelli Mike, overall, in my own personal experience, we've had excellent service in the NHS. Really very, very good. Yes, you have to wait, and you've got to sit around for a long time sometimes. I was there with my dad a few weeks back. You guys may remember, I probably spoke about it. And sometimes you could sit there for 5, 6, 10 hours. And one time my dad sat there for about 11 or 12 hours till he was discharged, just sitting around waiting from one guy to the next guy. And each time you see somebody, you kind of, in order to, Savinelli, you can correct me here, but they do the triage when you come in, and they try to keep the statistics down that you get seen within a certain amount of time. So that triage is how they get those numbers down. So you'll see a triage maybe within an hour, so they can tick you off that you've seen somebody. And obviously then, if it's urgent, you'll get seen. And if it's really urgent, you'll get seen straight away when you come in. But if it's not super urgent, you get triaged and then you'll sit and you'll wait for a doctor, and that could take, on average, I would say on a normal day, you could wait 4 or 5 hours. It's a National Health Service. Well, postcode lottery, because of how busy they are. Where I live, it's London. It's not quite central, but not that far off. So it's busy. Our local hospital is the Royal Free Hospital, which is a fantastic hospital. It's a modern hospital. They're forever, reviewing it and revising it and updating it. They're building another wing now. It's a great hospital, but it's very, very busy. Whereas, if you go to, I remember once we went for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. My parents, we rented a little kind of hotel kind of thing, not a big thing. We're talking about like a house kind of thing turned into a hotel. So we rented it for the weekend. So the whole family, all my parents' children, and their children and great grandchildren. So quite a number of people. We all stayed together for a weekend in this hotel, and it was a bit, I wouldn't say Fawlty Towers, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as that. It was actually really very nice. But I remember that the doors, because of sort of fire safety and all of that, the doors had to have springs on them to make sure that they close, so you have fire separation. But the springs on them were kind of, I won't say old-fashioned, but they were far too strong. And one of my kids, who would have probably been about 3 or 4 at the time, I don't have that many siblings, but we all have fairly decent families. I have we're 4. There's me and 3 others, 2 brothers and a sister, but we each have sizable families. And then we've got married kids and we have grandchildren. So it's by the time we finished, I don't remember. I don't know what the count was. I gave a rough idea. I mean, we could have easily have been, around 50, 60 people. I don't know. Where was I? Yeah, so these doors were really, really strong when they closed automatically. And my daughter caught her finger in one of the doors, and it near on took her finger off, but not quite. Anyway, so she had to go to hospital. That was in Bournemouth. We went to Bournemouth Hospital, and she got seen straight away. There was nobody there, because Bournemouth is a seaside town. It wasn't holiday season, and it was just she got seen. Okay, probably also because of her situation and also being a minor. But I remember the place was empty. I myself once had to go to hospital. Probably going back about 15, 20 years. I built a porch for my parents, and I was using a bench saw, one of these with a handle that you bring down on the wood. And instead of using wood, I used my fingers. I'd run out of wood, so I started cutting my fingers. That's what it seemed like. Anyway, I went through. My hands are rather dirty from the work, but you can see see that line over there. That's one scar, and there's a scar over there as well. I was very lucky that I didn't lose any bits of my fingers. But at the time, I was pouring blood, and I was taken to the hospital by ambulance, and they saw me pretty straight away. Obviously, I was bleeding, so they saw me straight away. I remember still, my mum almost fainted because the guy was he was examining it, obviously taking it out, so blood was dripping like a tap. My mother was flaking out at the time, but he gave me probably a tetanus or something like that in my finger, some kind of injection, and he couldn't get the needle in because my skin is so tough, like an elephant. So I remember that quite clearly, that the guy said, "Cool, this guy's got tough skin." He couldn't get the injection, and he did eventually, but I always remember that as being quite funny. Carving Piper, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Carvers Block was. You'll have to wind back and watch the top of the video, and then you'll see why carving block is appropriate. Just for having problems making a pipe today. All the best, Sam Nelly Mike. Thanks for joining. Whereabouts are you in? Are you in the UK, I assume? If you're working in the NHS. Which area of the world are you in, if I may ask? I ask only possibly there's Peterborough, right? You said. Okay, so maybe get in touch. Presumably you've got my details. But get in touch one time if you're thinking of coming down. Perhaps we could meet up a little bit earlier, have a drink and enjoy a pipe or something. That would be really cool. It's always nice to meet the people in the skin as opposed to just virtually. So this was another of my rescue pipes because I'd miscalculated something and I got a gaping hole at the bottom of the bowl. So I carved this bit of mortar, gave it an angle so the pipe sits, and the rest of the pipe is gorgeous. Really nice grain, and I stained it to kind of blend in with a dark mortar, and it looks pretty good. I'm in northwest London. So do you guys prefer this perspective on the camera as opposed to seeing my pipes in the background? Besides for the fact that you get an occasional glimpse as I bend down to do something. You're in Islington. Oh, we should get together sometime, Paul. Will I have a stand at the Nottingham Pipe Show? I'm considering it. I've been in touch with Toking Tommy. I've actually made a pipe for them. Well, I've given them a pipe. Let me show you. They do a raffle every year. It's actually a pipe that you may have seen. I made it in the past, but I restained it. I revisited it and did one of my sort of improved staining. Anyway, so I donated a pipe last year as well for the raffle. I never heard from the guy who won it. I hope he's smoking it. The MC is very funny, yes he is. Anyway, this is the pipe. Got nice bird's eye on the rim. Beautiful grain. So yeah, so that's what I've donated that to the Nottingham Pipe Show. I just haven't sent it because I want to get my stamp on it. So yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure because I know that if I take a stand, then I won't enjoy the show because I'll be basically on my stand all the time and I won't be outside smoking with everybody else. Hi Daniel, how you doing? A YTPC calendar. Well, I don't know how you would decide what you put in there. There's a UK Facebook group, UKTPC, and they do a calendar, which I did get recently, which I can't see where it is right now, otherwise I'd show it to you. No, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in this Aladdin's cave of an office. You're missing Mike's video. Or is that supposed to be tonight? I thought he was changing his to Friday. Oh, you got the JF Jermaine one from Kathy. Oh no, or was it Sam? Who said he found one? It was Sam, wasn't it? From GQ Tobaccos. Okay, PA, I look forward to that. Yeah, so this is the pipe, which I'm also holding just to wait for my stamp to come in, which I should get in the next couple of days. So once it's stamped, I'll send it off. It's going off to the United States. Oh right, cool. Oh, Robert Germain, very nice. I've spoken to him a few times, nice chap. The rustication on this one, probably one of my better ones. I'm kind of refining the way I do it all the time. And this one, I think, worked out well. It's rusticated, but it's also got a nice shiny kind, it catches the light very nicely. In actual fact, today I actually set out to make a pipe like that. Maybe not that shape, but I was going to do something like my Bentley pipe. I was going to do something like that. Or maybe something similar to this, something like this kind of idea, an egg shape, maybe brandy. Maybe I wanted to do something with a bigger bend. I wanted to try my hand at doing a full bent pipe, almost full bent. This is one of my favourite Soren Refberg pipes, but it's a Latakia pipe, so I don't smoke it often enough these days. It wasn't originally, but I just didn't enjoy smoking it with Virginias. It just didn't taste right. I moved it to Latakias and it was fine. You know, you get that sometimes with pipes. I'll tell you what I saw today. This Helix pipe from Ian Walker, Northern Briars. A guy showed one on Facebook today on one of the UK groups with a smooth one. This is like a alternating smooth and sandblasted, and his one was smooth and it looked absolutely stunning. I was actually jealous. This pipe here was in my cell, and I've actually decided to send it to somebody, and so that's going to be going to somebody in the next couple of days, hopefully. That's the bowl done. How long have we been on? Ooh, how long have we been on? 80 minutes or so? Wow, that was quick. Hi, Maui. It was on the UK TPC, Tim. Stunning pipe. Absolutely stunning pipe. Well, I'm quite relieved because this was to test my bowl coatings to see if they taste okay. I didn't taste it at all, which is absolutely perfect. It's what you want. I've actually done a bowl coating on the Savinelli, the matches Savinelli, so I'm happy that that's going to be okay. We're going to use it on the pickaxe when it decides to allow me to finish it. Yeah, I'm early this evening. I got on through frustration and I needed to just separate myself from my workshop, otherwise I would have hit something. Just a bit of frustration. You're not on the UK PTC because of nasty people. To be honest with you, high pipe puffer, the helix shape is easy to do, really. I don't blame you, Tim. I must be honest. I have had a very bad experience on the UK TPC, and there's people on there who are simply yobs. There's no other way of putting it. They're absolute yobs, and they're just aggressive, abusive. And there was one particular guy who, every time I put up a pipe, he would just, regardless of how good it was, he would just say things like, "Your pipes are rubbish. I wouldn't pay more than £20 for them," or just stuff like that. And if you don't like it, fine, don't buy them. But to sort of diss that on somebody's page when they're trying to show the pipes, it's just. And then there was a bit of sort of direct toing and froing, and in the end I just blocked him, and that was that. I haven't heard from him. He can't see my posts. I don't see his posts, and that's done. You're jealous? Jealous of what? Yeah, Block is a wonderful tool. Right. Well, that's why on my profile I've got nothing. My profile is empty. I've got a picture of a pipe, and that's about it. None of my pictures are posted on my profile. I've got literally zero content on my profile because I'm not interested in having a public persona as such on Facebook. I'm only subscribed to a handful of pipe and cigar groups, and I post on the group, but the posts just stay on the group, and most of the ones that I'm on are closed groups, so it's not seen by the wider world. I'm not on Twitter, no. Got enough going on as it is. People that dish your pipe. I don't know what that means, sorry. Facebook, there's the problem, yeah. Would I make a pipe and matching tamper as a package? Yeah, possibly. I've talked about that before. I see what you mean, Stonehenge. Yeah, absolutely, that's all it is. It's the same with the thumbs down on YouTube. I get the same 3 or 4 people thumbs down. I've got 3 thumbs down here right now on this video. I get 3 or 4 every single time, come what may. But you develop a thick skin, and that's it. I got a great pipe and matching tamper from Jordan. Awesome. I haven't smoked it yet, but it looks fantastic. It looks almost too nice to smoke. Somebody asked me a question before. Hang on. I don't like ignoring them. Hang on. Daniel asked, do I like bulldog shapes more than an apple? To be honest, no. I used to like the bulldog shape a lot, and I had some. I've still got a couple, but I actually prefer the apple or brandy shape. I really like a brandy shape. The stains that I use, are they oil based? I think they are, yes. They're spirit, not oil. They're spirit based. If that means oil, probably not. No, they're spirit based. That was George's question. All the best, Andrew. Thanks a lot. You're gonna ruin some more briar tonight. Listen, the more briar that you ruin is the closer you get to making better ones. Yeah, you don't get thumbs down, George. It's less work, because the truth of the matter is that the thumbs downers, they actually do like what they see, but they're jealous and they can't cope with it, and they can't overcome the fact that they are not doing that kind of thing, or they're not able to do that kind of thing, or they haven't succeeded in life generally, and therefore they have to thumbs down it because somebody else has to also have a bad day, not just them. And there's a kind of a recognition and an admiration there, but it's a spiteful one. The more they admire you, or the more they like what they see, they kind of say to themselves, I hate what I see. But the more they do that, the more actually it's bothering them, because it's actually in contrast with their own personal situation. Thanks, Carving. Yeah, that's actually a really nice idea, Daniel, to do some kind of something special for the 100th pipe. Where am I up to? I think I'm 92. Could that be, or is it 82? I think it's 92. So we're really not far away from that at all. That's a good idea, Daniel. I'll have to really give that some thought. 92, thank you, Daniel. Maybe I'll do like a twin pipe set, something like that. I think that would be cool. What did think of doing was to go with this, but I probably won't do it. But maybe for the 100th one, is to do the reverse of this. So you've got the smooth rim and the smooth shank, and rusticated bowl and rusticated rim. So I was thinking of doing the reverse and just doing a smooth bowl and rusticated here and rusticated there, and just to sell them as a set. So yin and yang kind of thing. A 320 and a 673. Hi Newton, how you doing? No, I'm not a fan of the 320 myself. I like the concept of it, I like the shape of it, but I'm not a fan of the stem. I find the stem a little bit too... I'm not dissing people who like it, it's a great pipe. I know that Onion loves his 320s, and I think... didn't you get one, Chad, recently? Somebody got one recently. So they are great pipes. They're great smoking pipes. They're phenomenal. It's an author shape, which is a very good smoking pipe. It's a good smoking shape. But I find that, and I had this once with a Dunhill Bulldog, which I sold because of that, is I find that the stem on the 320, if you look at the stem of a 320, this is a better example. If you look at the stem of a 320, it gets fat almost immediately, and I find it just not so comfortable in my mouth. I just find that it's just too much going on around here. So it might be wide as well, could be, you might be right. The stem may be wide, but it's the fatness of it, the girth. See here, you've got this whole bite zone area here, which is really nice and thin. The 320, literally within 5mm, it starts to get really thick, and it just wasn't comfortable for me. And they're actually quite weighty as well. I have thought about getting a 321. I don't know how much smaller a 321 is. It's a sipping pipe. That's fair enough, Jordan, actually, yeah. So if you're sort of at your desk or in an armchair and just relaxing, then yeah, that would make sense. If you're doing a matches and just sitting there holding it and chugging on it, then yeah, it would be a good matches smoker. Have I considered trying a Meerschaum block? No. No, I'm happy enough working on briar and mortar. Do I think Dunhill pipes are overrated and overpriced? The amount of times that question's been asked, I have to crick my neck for this question. Oh. Right, Dunhill pipes, you're paying for the name. That's not to say that they're not well made, but you are paying for the name. There's no question about it. If you were to buy a pipe by Tom Eltang or Nana Iverson or any of the greats out there, their pipes probably have much more attention to detail. Okay, you'll pay for it as well, but Dunhill pipes ultimately are still a factory pipe, even though they do still have a very personal touch to how they're made. But they are essentially a factory pipe. And the drilling, a lot passes the standard. What's the word? In a factory, there's a checking system at the end. What do you call that? Someone? Quality control. Thank you, BA. Quality assurance. Yeah, but quality control. So Chad is still there. Thank you, Chad. Chad is chilling Chad. Chilled Chad. So quality control. Their quality control seems to allow quite a lot. Their top end and low end is quite a big sort of scale, and a lot gets in between those two lines. There was a time where they said they were tightening up on it, but you can see differences in the quality. People say that the 1920s and 30s up to 1962, I think they say, are the best Dunhills that you can buy. 1960 ideally, but stretching even as far as 1962, 63 possibly. But they say that in 1963 it changed. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's the type of carvers that they had employed at the time, I don't know. But are they overpriced? As I was, I could make a pipe which is as well made as a Dunhill. Maybe the briar is better, I don't know, but nowadays I'm not so sure anymore. Most of it comes from France. I'm not sure if that's changed now, but most of the Dunhills for a good part of the last few decades, the Stummels were made in France, not here. They were just finished here. But you are paying for a name. Obviously there's a style, there's a Dunhill pipe which is recognisable, but you are paying over the odds, I think. But there is some value in that in itself. Having a Rolls Royce, there's some value in that for somebody who wants a Rolls Royce. There's value in that, even though 10 years down the line they're good for scrap. A lot of them, some of the older ones, you can pick them up for a few £100 because they're just too expensive to maintain. But it's really a matter of, if you're going to buy a Gucci handbag or Jimmy Choo shoes, are they better than other shoes? They're better than some shoes, but they're not better than plenty shoes which are priced lower, and you're paying for a name. What's the best kind of briar? The best kind of briar is one which is fashioned into a pipe. I don't know the answer to that question. You loved the Nirup. Jordan, who's Nirup you talking about? Did I see the guy with the Rolex on Attic Roadshow? No. Hey Mel, how you doing? Welcome. I had every intention of going back out to the garage and starting a new pipe. It's now 11 o'clock. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do that anymore. You guys. Oh, my old Nerup you're talking about, Jordan. Yeah, that was a stunning pipe. The grain on it was awesome. It was actually a bulldog. It was a diamond shank bulldog, proper bulldog. But it was a pot style because that's Nerup. It had you can tell a Nerup, can't you? Yeah, I know, Daniel. I was just kidding. If you speak to the seasoned carvers out there, they'll all tell you something different. But at the moment, there's each type of region gives you different qualities. I don't know the difference. I'm not yet experienced enough to know. But people say that the Algerian one, for instance, I was speaking to messaging Jason Mouton, and he said he doesn't touch it because it's full of pits. I've had Greek briar, which is also quite pitty, but they carve really well, and they're really good for rusticated pipes, for instance. They smoke well. But the last probably 40-50 pipes that I've made are from Mimo briar. There's no point really buying anything else. It's the most reliable briar that you can buy, really. Absolutely, Newton. Alright, well, I think I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, guys. It was an ad hoc live today, so I appreciate you joining. I didn't realise that we've got over 40 people watching, which is very nice. Thank you very much, considering it wasn't scheduled. So much appreciated. What briar has the better bird's eye grain? I don't know. I just know that the ones that I use are pretty good. The bird's eye really is, you need to get a plateau block for that, and then obviously you could hope that it runs through the block. Thank you very much. I think I'm still going to go outside and try and crack through that block. I don't like giving up. I don't like being gotten the better of. You may have noticed that about me. So I'm going to crack open another block and see if I can get another pipe on the road, which I guess I'll have to finish tomorrow. I might actually, if anybody's interested, or if anybody here is in London, anybody who's watching, I might actually, because I've got to go into town tomorrow around lunchtime, probably, so I may well end up going to St James's. I haven't been there in Yonkers. I couldn't go to the show last night, which I was pretty gutted about, but various issues came up which I just couldn't avoid. I haven't been there for a while, so I might just go there, and I might practice what I preached this morning in my video, or this afternoon, and I might top up on a couple of blends, and I might get some Aaron Morflake. I wish I could get some Orlick. I just wish I could get that here in the UK. I have asked Sam Bramer at GQ Tobaccos to look into that and see if that could be resurrected, but we shall see. So a good thing came out of this live is that smoked this pipe for the first time. My ball coating is absolutely spot on. No taste at all, completely neutral, which is what you want. So I'm really relieved about that. Thanks, George. When I'm sitting at my desk, sometimes if I'm somewhere else, not at home, I'll often have one of these in my ear, and I'll just be listening to anything on YouTube, videos from you guys. You just gotta make the best out of the time that you have. That's a lesson for us all. Just look at John Matches, one day to the next, gone. So we've got to make the most of it. We've got to do what we can in the time that we have. Anywho, on that somber note, I wish you all well. Have a great evening. I'm jealous of you guys in America because it's early for you. It would be great if you could have some kind of speed travel where you could go from London to the US and then back again and just make up those hours. Enjoy the extra days. Alright, everybody, thanks very much for joining. Jordan, thank you very much. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Stonehenge. Thank you, George. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Carving Piper. Thank you, Newton. Thank you, Chill Chad. And PA Piper, Maui. And everybody else, and all the lurkers in the background. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and rest of the week. And hopefully the pipes will start rolling in soon, the mattress pipes, and we'll be able to fix a date for the auction. Thanks everybody, catch you on the next one. I'm a little bit worried, too many sort of little images of me coming on this video. I might have to take it down, we'll see. Alright. Hold on, what was that? Did you guys... I don't know what that was. Good night, Josh, Boris. Thank you. Okay, I missed something there. I don't know what that was. Check the reflection in the humidor. Woo! Alright, everybody. If anybody's in London tomorrow, hit me up. Maybe we can meet. Cheers.